Hello everyone, how are you today? I'm glad to see you all. It's a really sunny day out today as I'm recording this story time, and I'm hoping when you guys are listening to it that it's going to be a snowy day with lots of snow falling down. This is why. Here is a mitten, a soft fuzzy one, with a place for my fingers and a place for my thumb. Here are two mittens, a colorful sight. One for my left hand and one for my right. These are my mittens, as soft as can be. A warm pair for you and a warm pair for me. The mittens on my hands keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The mittens on my hands keep me warm all winter long. Isn't it nice when you have nice warm mittens to go outside and play with? Yeah, it makes playing so much more fun, doesn't it? And the book I'm going to read you today is called The Mitten. And it's written and illustrated by Jan Brett. You guys might have read this book before, but it's a fun story about animals and a mitten in the winter. And I'd like to thank J.P. Putnam's and Sons for allowing us to share the story today. Now, the great thing about Jan Brett's books is there's always these wonderful little pictures on the sides of the story for us to look at. And this story is about a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. And I think that's his grandma making those mittens for him. At first, his grandmother Baba did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Can you see it? What's this? Let's see. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. And who's this? Is that a clue? Let's see. Oh, a snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was enough room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. And who's this fellow? He's got prickles. Let's see. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. Oh, look who's coming now. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. That mitten's getting pretty full. Let's see if there's a clue on this page. What is that? Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not too pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. Look at that. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. How are they all fitting in there? Ooh, who's that big guy? A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal could argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged too many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Oh, that's a big bear to fit in that mitten. Oh, and who's this? Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Look at all those animals in there. I hope they're cozy. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah! Ah! Choo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. There they go. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. Oh, thank goodness he found it. And as he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. Can you see her in the window? She doesn't know that that mitten had a great big adventure, does she? And there she is. Look, one mitten is the normal size, and something happened to the other mitten. It's all big and stretched out. But we know what happened, don't we? Those animals had a great time trying to stay warm. And I have something for you guys that's just like that. And it's going to be a little song, and you can help me sing. Look what I made. What is that? A big white mitten, right? What should we put in there? Should we put some animals in there? Let's try. We'll sing a little song, okay? The mitten in the snow, the mitten in the snow, help us please so we don't freeze, the mitten in the snow. The mole squeezes in, the mole squeezes in, help us please so we don't freeze, the mole squeezes in. The rabbit squeezes in, the rabbit squeezes in, Help us please so we don't freeze. The rabbit squeezes in. The hedgehog squeezes in. The hedgehog squeezes in. Help us please so we don't freeze. The hedgehog squeezes in. The owl squeezes in. The owl squeezes in. Help us please so we don't freeze. The owl squeezes in. Oh, here comes the badger. He's big. The badger squeezes in. The badger squeezes in. Help us please so we don't freeze. The badger squeezes in. Oh, here comes the scary fox. The fox squeezes in. The fox squeezes in. Help us please so we don't freeze. The fox squeezes in. Who's left? Oh, the big bear. The bear squeezes in. The bear squeezes in. Help us please so we don't sneeze. The bear squeezes in. Now, who's the last one? Does anyone remember? That's right. It's the little meadow mouse. The mouse squeezes in. The mouse squeezes in. Help us please so we don't freeze. The mouse squeezes in. And what happens then after the mouse squeezes in? Oh no! The bear sneezed us out. The bear sneezed us out. Oh no, now we might freeze. The bear sneezed us out. Should we all sneeze together and see what happens? All right. 1, 2, 3. Achoo! And there they all went, out of the mitten. That's a fun little song for you guys. And I have a fun craft for you guys today to go with that book. This is my book. It's called The Mitten. And it's a book that everyone's going to be able to read. The mole is in the mitten. And it goes on and tells about all the animals that try to squeeze into the mitten. And at the end, there's a big achoo! So if you want to stop by the library, I'm going to have these little books for you to pick up. Except yours aren't going to be colored. So you get to go through and color all the animals, the hedgehog, the owl, the badger, the fox, the bear, and even the little mouse. And then you'll be able to read the story. It's a very good book for learning how to read. Okay, so I'll have these at the library if you want to stop by and pick some up. Okay? Thanks for sitting. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming here today. Now that story time is over, hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye, everyone.